Hi guys. Yesterday I talked to you about paperwork and the way to legally homeschool, at least in Ohio, and what to do through the school year to make sure that you have everything that you need for that. Today I want to talk about curriculum because I know that curriculum is one of the other big, huge, scary things when you're starting out because you have no idea what you want to do. And to be honest, curriculum is something that homeschool people love to talk about. So if you have time and you want to dive into this world, there are some gorgeous websites and beautiful blogs that can talk you through this stuff. However, if you do not have time to do that, you do not want to do that, that's totally fine. So what I'm hoping to do today is to give you a bare bones, if you don't have any idea what you're doing and you do not have any time to research, this is literally what you can do from day one. This is the list that I would give to my husband, like if I were going to leave the country tomorrow. He works full time. We have 7 kids. This is what I would be telling him to do every day for school. So this is what I would use for my family. I do want to do a video a little later on to talk about curriculum options because there's so much amazing stuff out there. I want you guys to be aware of that. But for today, this is just the, I'm calling it the in case of emergency break glass curriculum. This is your, I have no idea what I'm doing. Do this. It's going to be fine. Okay, so, I'm assuming that you have pretty regular internet access for this specific video. I want to do another one in case you don't have reliable internet or if you don't want your kids on screens, although this really shouldn't take very long. So but if you're really trying to limit screens or if you don't have reliable access to screens, that's fine. I'm going to do another video. But this is kind of what I would literally have my husband do. Okay, so for math, you're going to go to Khan Academy. Khan Academy is absolutely amazing, and in fact, if you don't take anything else from any of these videos, even if you decide not to homeschool, go to Khan Academy. They are an amazing resource. It's free. You can donate, but they have, trying to think what all they have. They have everything from grammar to this. They have a really, really cool series from Pixar that teaches you some computer animation and graphic design and just all kinds of really amazing stuff. But they also have math videos and math practice broken down into small sections and units, and it goes from preschool to college. So you can do an entire year's worth of math with Khan Academy for whatever age kid you have. They have videos that explain it to you, and you can make a parent account and then put all of your children under that account, and they will send you updates every week about what your kid is doing. So you can, it's super easy to track. You don't necessarily have to stand over your child's shoulder even to make sure that they're doing it. It's fantastic. And I believe last I looked at their website, I think that they actually have a COVID curriculum written up. So if you wanted to, you could probably just use them for your entire homeschooling. I think that they have links to their grammar and everything pulled together for you, maybe. I'm not 100% sure on that, but I know for sure math, Khan Academy. So science, there are so many cool things that you can do with science, but if you don't want to, you don't have time, awesome. Go to the internet, look up Smarter Every Day, pick a video, watch it. They're not very long. They're fantastic. They're super interesting. My family loves them. I can't say enough about it. So pick a topic that your kids are interested in. Pick a topic that you're interested in. Watch 2 if you want to. They're great, but then you've got your science down for the day. Okay, so history. I'm trying to keep this list as low cost as I can because I'm assuming that people don't want to sink a ton of money into curriculum if they don't even know for sure that they want to be homeschooling. But I would actually advise for history buying Story of the World. It's a 4-book set. You can also get it in audiobooks, and I believe it's about $25 per book. I'm going to throw some links down in the description, so I'll find out exactly how much that costs. But it's a really great series. It breaks it basically covers the history of the entire world, and it's really neat because it tells you what's going on in one country at the same time in history. Like instead of just learning European history all the way through, it kind of jumps around and explains to you what's going on in different parts of the world at the same time. It's broken up into very short chapters, and the chapters are broken up into sections. So I would get Story of the World. I would read one section, not even one chapter, or assign your kid to read one section a day. And if you like it, read more. That's great. There's 4 whole books, and if you get to the end of them, read them again. They're amazing, and you'll catch more the second time around. So no matter what age your child is for history, I would do Story of the World. If you don't want to buy a book, or you don't have the resources to buy a book, or hate books, I don't know, I would go to YouTube and look up Liberty Kids. I don't know if you guys are familiar with that, but it's a cartoon that goes through kind of the founding of America. It is chock full of information. There are tons of episodes. I don't think it's going to get you through an entire school year, but it's going to get you pretty far. I don't remember exactly how many episodes there are. And honestly, I would even do that with my high school kids. It's a really great resource. I'm betting that they would learn something that they don't already know. And if they fuss about watching a cartoon, I would honestly tell them, hey, you get to watch 20 minutes worth of YouTube and call it history, so be happy. Yeah, so I'd go with Story of the World, and second, I would go with Liberty Kids if you don't want to do Story of the World. Language. I don't know if you guys want to do language given the circumstances and how much is going on. Maybe you don't even want to try to mess with that, but if you do want to do language, Duolingo is a really, really fantastic language app. I think I say that wrong, but it is free, and I believe that you can pay for an upgraded version. I'm personally using that right now to learn Russian. It is great. So if you want to teach your kids a language, use Duolingo. If you want to learn a language, I would highly, highly recommend it. Okay, reading. Reading is tricky because it is one of my biggest homeschooling kind of soapbox areas. I'm going to try to keep most of my opinions to myself here, but honestly, if I were to tell my husband tomorrow how to homeschool our kids for reading, I would honestly just tell him, do not worry about reading, except to take them to the library and help them to get any and all books that they want to read. Doesn't matter. Graphic novels, yes. Comics, absolutely. A book that's way below your reading level, sure. A book that's way above your reading level, yeah, let's try it, see what happens, That's what I would do. However, given that this is a pandemic, maybe you don't want to take your kids to the library, and that's super valid. You can, at most libraries right now, order books online, so you could, if you want, let your kids browse online the books that look interesting and order them through the librarians and pick them up. I believe all of the local libraries are doing that, so I'm guessing that's kind of a nationwide thing. But anyway, okay, I'm getting off track here. The point is, if you do not want to use the library and just allow your kids to get whatever books that they want, there are book lists by age all over on the internet. So maybe I'll grab a couple of those links if I have time for you guys and throw them in the description as well. But the bottom line is there are book lists that are super easy to find. So by age, by reading level, by school year, however you want to break that up. In that case, get the book list. Either, again, reserve the books from the library, buy the books, borrow the books. But I would not personally be super worried about reading. If my child was already reading, I would not be pushing reading as a subject. I would be doing the best that I could to surround my kids with as much fantastic books as I could. In fact, you should see my house because it is filled with all sorts of books. However, if you have a child who is not yet fluent in reading, and you need to teach them how to read, this is again a place that I would put a little bit of money into a resource. So I personally would recommend Bob Books. They are fantastic resources for teaching beginning learners. There are other ways to go about teaching reading. If you don't want to buy anything, or you don't have the resources to buy something, but I think that would need to be a whole nother video because honestly that's a huge long topic. Real quick, you would basically just surround your kid with as many words as you can. Read to them. If your kid isn't reading right now and it stresses you out to try to teach them to read because of whatever reason, don't teach them to read. Read to them. Read as many books as you can read. Talk about what's happening. Talk about, read the same book over and over so your 3-year-old has a favorite book. That is fantastic because that is getting them ready to learn how to read. So maybe you can say that book by heart. They can say that book by heart. That is all gold. I'm getting way off track here. I'm sorry. Again, reading is a huge, huge thing for me. If you want to teach your child to read during the pandemic, I would go with Bob Books. If you don't want to buy Bob Books, the best thing to do, and honestly what I would recommend anyway, is to just read as much as possible to them. Okay, writing. Again, I don't know that you need to stress about writing if you are, depending about your comfort level with it. What I would personally recommend is to give each kid a notebook and tell them to write a journal each day. I've actually done that with my kids at different points as they're writing. So if you have a younger child, I would allow, and in fact, I would do this literally with any age child. So even if your child cannot write at all, I would as part of a writing curriculum for my family, give every child a notebook and something to write with, and every day you put something in your notebook. I personally would allow pictures and drawing up until a certain point. I have told some of my older kids, you have to use words, use your words. That being said, I would not check spelling, I would not check grammar. This would be a place for them to just write. Write how they're feeling, write why they're mad at you that they have to write this stupid thing. It doesn't matter. As long as they're writing every day, it's going to be okay. Now, there are some really, really cool writing resources and curriculums. So if you have the capacity to dive, if you've got time and energy to really dive into teaching writing, that's fantastic. But again, if you don't, that's fine. They're going to be okay. The more they write, the more comfortable they're going to get with writing, and they will learn. If you are not comfortable just saying, hey, journal, whatever you journal is fine. There are writing prompts online. Again, you can sort by age, by anything, really, topic, school level, whatever you want to do. So if you are not comfortable telling them to just write a notebook page a day, I wouldn't even require a full notebook page, by the way. Maybe depending on the age of the kid, I might say, you have to write. Unless your kid is in high school, I would not require a full notebook page of journaling every day. Because the more, again, this gets into so much other stuff that I'm trying to tell you guys. Okay, that's not important. What's important is that is what I would tell my husband to do if he was teaching my kids for an extended period of time tomorrow. I believe that that's everything that you would need. The only exception is when you fill out the paperwork, it says for the school, it says that you're agreeing to also teach art, health, and I think phys ed is on there. So my thing about that is your kids are going to be getting that stuff anyway. If you really, really, really want curriculum for that, you can look online and find, buy a health book and read it to your kids if you feel more comfortable with that. But most of that stuff the kids are going to get. So, phys ed is easy. So they're going to, do yoga every day, whatever your family likes to do to be active. Art, hand them a pencil and some paper. It doesn't have to be complicated, but I personally wouldn't even worry about a formal curriculum for any of those things. Not for health, not for art, and not for phys ed, because your kids are probably already interacting with those things in some capacity. So that's my advice about that. Again, if you want to deep dive and do all kinds of really cool stuff with art, that is amazing. If you don't have time to do it, it's going to be okay. Okay, so that's all I have for today. Later on, I'm going to talk, I'm sure, more about curriculum and a little bit more, I hope, about how I personally homeschool, to give you guys a couple more resources for what to actually do during the day. It's great to have this plan, but okay, what if you sit down and your kid is suddenly refusing to function? What do you do? So I'm going to talk about some of that stuff, but that's all for right now.